paid me to defend the pick, I can't do it.
But I just don't think they're gonna win. But I just don't think they're gonna win.
If you paid me to defend the pick, I can't do it.
But I just don't think they're gonna win. But I just don't think they're gonna win. He hit 366. He hit over 500.
If you paid me to defend the pick, I can't do it.
He hit 366. He hit over 500.
The more you analyze it, the more holes you come up with.
But I just don't think they're gonna win. But I just don't think they're gonna win.
You blew up the draft with that pick. Nobody expected that pick. Scared to give the F, huh? Scared to give the F, huh?
You have Nanu, who was the MVP. If your team could just field the ground ball, field the ground ball and throw it in and not give Zach home runs on singles the last week of the season.
Because I have Allen Jamal leading off because we know T.I. loves him. Scared to give the F, huh? Scared to give the F, huh? If you paid me to defend the pick, I can't.
He hit 366. He hit over 500. He hit 366. He hit over 500.
Analyze it. The more holes you come up.
I just don't think they're gonna win. But I just don't think they're gonna win.
If you paid me to defend the pick, if you paid me.
He hit 366. He hit over 500. Over 500. But I just don't think they're gonna win. But I just don't think they're gonna win.
This commercial break is brought to you by Fonz Fired Pizza, proud sponsor of the YMSL. Ain't nothing better than getting saucy with Fonz. Reach out to Fonz Fired Pizza for any occasion. We got you covered. And don't forget about our signature frozen pies. They come in various different flavors. Stay saucy, my friends.
We are back with the much anticipated review. It's been a few days now. We're finally getting to Never Again, along with our wonderful analysts. You guys are getting A+ across the board for your analysis. Thank you both. Jacobati, JT, welcome back to the show as we look at the 2024 iteration of TI's squad called Never Again. Initial thoughts?
Worst offense I've ever seen.
Jack?
I'm going to now piggyback on JT's answer. I'm going to say he got his guy. He got an AB. You know, he picked a lot of guys that he wanted. I think he built a defense, you know, and a pitcher. And, you know, the way this team is going to win is got to be the way that swimming won. You know, there's no hiding the fact that the offense is going to struggle. But they have a good defense and a great pitcher. And, you know, but swimming had Farka and Z. You know, who's the guys who are going to step up on this team offensively? I think Uri Adler is a name that we have to look at. You know, Kevin has talked about him to me all offseason. He hit 349 last year. Kevin said he's a much better hitter than that. He notoriously played in a Muncie high arc league last year. He played in Lakewood. He played in a night league. He played he's playing in something like 4 leagues at a time with all different rules. And I think, according to Kevin, that threw off his swing. It's very hard to play fast pitch to modified to arc and stay consistent. I think he's locked in. Kevin said he's one of the purest hitters he's seen mechanically. And I go a lot based on Kevin.
He's a great player.
You know, they need him. He's their 3 hitter or their 4 hitter. You know, so they need him to be better than he was. He needs to carry the offense.
He's gonna be great.
And they need ABJ. You know, we've been saying it, but 3 out of the last 4 years, he's hitting the 300s. You know, career 400 hitter on the nose. In 500 or 600 at bats. So, you know, he's gonna be batting 2. You know, I put Nate Kush at 1 because he's their best hitter. You know, we said on the draft, he said he's their best. He's a great night league hitter. He's a great hitter. He made the All-Star team last year, and he's a great hitter. And he's their best offensive player. Any way you slice it, you know, I think he's their best offensive player.
This past year, he finally showed his night league prowess in the YMSL. Finally, it took him a long time. He was having a 300 to 400 point gap between YMSL average and night league average. So finally, he did that. Their best hitter. Don't laugh. Is Eddie Michon. It is their best hitter last year. He was also an all-star. He batted 486 and no cheap hits at all, obviously. from Eddie
Well,
Michon.
they only have two guys who batted 400. Eddie Michon and Nate Kush.
And it's not two guys that I think can do it again. I don't know
Yeah.
if they could do it again.
They have three guys in the lineup. Ti 209. He may bat lefty this year. That's what I'm hearing. Maybe the bat lefty.
He's
Carlos
better than that.
226.
He's better than
Alan
that.
Jamal 267.
He's better than that.
Yeah, these guys got to be better than that.
No, they will be.
You know, they got to be better than that. I know we also thought Alan Jamal was going to take a step up. He went a little bit later than he went last year.
Yeah, which
but
is good.
On a team where there's still a lot of pressure for him to perform. You know, you think he's going to go later and the team won't need him as much.
Right.
You look at this offense and they need him just as much.
Yeah.
So, you know, he took him where there was bats available and he took him not to play center field, but he's his guy. And I think that, you know, he's thinking that I got him a steal at 42. It's double where I took him last year at 21. And you know, he'll perform. I don't know much about him. I know in the night league you get in the 450s. You know, but what does that mean?
He's a regular. He's a very
442 in the night league.
He's he's just a solid player.
442 in the night league. Okay.
He's not a 450 hitter, but he's
Well,
a solid
442
player.
in the night league is, you know,
It's
the defenses
350
aren't
here.
as great.
He's a thirty- he's
The
a
field is a
350
lot bigger.
Rookie
You know-
also first time, 350, 300 to 350,
Solid
let's say.
player.
I think we have to agree Alan
Well,
Jamal
Eddie Michon
will
hit
produce better than he produced last year. He's a much better player than
Stronger.
a 267 hitter, obviously.
Yeah, and he's bigger, he's
So
stronger.
you gotta assume this is up. I like that he was taking 42 and not third round. He went, I guess, to the 5th round. This is 44, 32, 46th round. I like where he went, Alan Jamal, and he's as good of a glove as anybody in the outfield. Looks like he's playing left on here.
He's great.
Great center fielder,
The
like you
best,
said,
the
the
best.
best center
Love.
fielder, one of the best left fielders. JT, you put Leo over Nate Kush, maybe they'll
They're
split
gonna share.
time.
They'll split one game each for sure. One game.
Edmund's a very good defensive first baseman. They need the Edmund of
Oh.
that, what's it called, threat level midnight.
Threat level midnight.
He was an MVP candidate. So
I think
you
he
know,
will
he's
be.
got to be the anchor. He's their
Jay,
four hitter.
He's been putting a lot of work
Yeah?
in KJ. So look for him to have a big
You know,
year.
I-
He's been putting work.
I
in.
think that's the key. I think Edmund is, you know, Edmund, Uri.
Also, one thing you have to understand: Ti. This team's a very weak offensive team, especially compared to
But they
others.
have the pitcher.
Especially compared to others. But Ti does get his team in the cages, just like Jack does. So he's going to get his team in the cages, and they're going to work and work and work. And I'm sure they're
I
going
know
to
Carlos
be
is in the
better than those
cages.
averages are.
He's
They're
always
gonna be
taking
better.
his son to hit. Maybe
Yeah.
he'll take some cuts.
Well, his son might be a better hitter than him, first of all. But let me tell you this: this is Edmund. 2 years ago, threat level midnight, 524. He lost 100 points and then another 100 points 2 years in a row. This is not the direction you want to go for Edmund. They traded up to get Edmund at pick number, who knows what pick? 58, right? 58. At 59 was Mickey Towell. He has much better numbers than 333.
Yeah, and he can play
The next
first
pick
base,
over,
you know,
and
but-
he's the first
Yeah,
baseman.
but guys, listen.
You're saying that's the guy.
I've been listening to all you guys talking about these averages,
Yeah.
and that's not fair. You can't just say Mickey Towell
I
500.
don't know.
and 30.
What could you say?
You can't because
What's
who's to
more
say?
likely?
I know, but
What about slugging?
If
Not
you
slugging?
look- if you
look-
power,
No, but JT
410 slugging.
no, I'm saying
2 years ago,
I
it
know,
was
but
in
I'm
the
saying
700s.
I know, but I'm
Mickey
saying
Powell also slugged 750. But if you
Right.
look at threat level midnight, look at the years before that also, it was down years.
Yeah.
So he's had one good year in a decade. So
I know,
yes,
but-
we know he can do it, and we think he's been in the cages, and if he's working hard, he can do it.
Now
But he
he-
has to do it,
Now he
Jay.
has to.
He
That's
has
the
to
key.
do it.
I know, but
he's their four hitter.
I
Why?
can't hear Mickey 500 and
Why?
he's 330
Why
and
can't you
saying
hear
he's
that?
better because Edmund's been doing it for a very long time.
But what's he been
He
doing?
hasn't been doing this for a
No, no,
while.
Hasn't
no,
been
he's
doing
playing softball his whole
He's
life.
been playing softball.
And
Yeah, a lot of guys play
the guy has
softball,
over,
man.
The guy has over 200.
Jody LeBose has been doing it for 50 years also, but he's not my cleanup hitter. And he's also...
Jody LeBose is over 50 years old.
I hear you, but he has to do it. That's my only
No,
problem. It's
that's
not
the
that he's
point.
not great. Is that these two
And he
guys,
can do
Uri
it.
Adler and Edmund,
Have to do it.
Now you look at Naby 2 years ago also was a great hitter. Took a little bit of a step back, but I think he's also a guy. These guys,
I
if they
think-
have
I
the
think you're
pitcher.
looking- I think you guys
They're
are
built
looking at
around
the
this.
numbers too
They're
much.
No, I'm not, because you're built around the pitcher. So you know they don't have to be great offensively.
No, but like we know what
someone's going to have
Naby
to
is.
do
We
something.
know what Naby is. Naby's a guy that can get a hit at any time.
Yeah.
He's not a 300
Single.
or 400. He's
What
just
does
a
that
guy-
mean?
I'm just saying he's a guy that can get a hit.
But 2 years ago, he got a hit a lot more times. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah.
When
so,
a guy,
so this year he might get it more than the other year. Who's to say he isn't?
I'm not saying, but the fact that is, you know the guys that you can pencil in year after year. That's what makes it difference? What's the
Okay.
difference between Joe G and some of these guys that year after year, you put them in, you close your eyes, you know you're gonna get production. These guys, it's some years you'll get 424, some years you'll get 333. Let me go get a 4-leaf clover and a wishbone and make a wish on a star. It could happen, but I don't know necessarily. What am I banking my season on? Because I'm gonna spend 6 months with these guys. I'm not coming to show up to the field every day if I'm getting 333 from my cleanup hitter.
And I just want to say that, like, I'm not saying that Mickey's the better pick than Edmund. Maybe you want Edmund. He's your guy. He's such a funny personality. Also, the best guy in the world.
He's a better player.
Maybe he's your guy, better defender. Fine.
He's better than
All
everything.
I'm pointing out is that the guy picked behind him had a slugging or a batting average twice of his. So he's got to produce on this team.
Eddie Michon hit 486. ABJ hit 352. What are we talking about?
So we're talking
Right.
about
That's what
had
we're
Eddie
talking
Michon at 100 years
I'm
old.
saying you can't
If you look at last year, who
46.
helped their team more? Eddie Michon helped his team more than ABJ did. Eddie Michon made the All-Star team. ABJ did not. You know, ABJ went what pick?
JT, you
10?
good with this
He
offense?
went 11?
No.
You're good with this?
No.
He went
Okay,
11?
I'm just
Joe
defending
Chiro went 61.
I'm not good with this.
How many years are you going to pay
This is a
352?
terrible offensive team.
No, but he's
I
a
just-
great
I just
defensive
don't like
player.
the average. I just, this whole.
I think
average
he's
thing
better
is-
than it is, but
Okay, fine. Let me put it this way. Forget
Yeah.
the average. Because I can do it with average or just by the person.
Yeah.
I love him. I have one championship. My co-captain was Carlos.
Right.
One championship I have to my name. This is one of my picks that I cannot defend no matter what you say.
Not a good pick.
Carlos Abadi is the best guy to have on a team. But at 36, it's crazy.
It's a crime.
It's crazy.
No, this is picking him at 36.
I like
love
Carlos also because he can play the
I love-
outfield and he can play the
yes,
infield.
I love Carlos. The guy's awesome. He's amazing. But at 36, Ti might be stripped of his captaincy. It's mind blowing. It's not the pick. I mean, and you know what's crazy? Alco went 35. This kid Alco, he's awesome. He was going 35. I went up to him at 34. I said, your pick is going to be at 36. I said, I want your 36 pick. He said, no, you can't have it. I'm picking my guy. I know it's a little early. I want him. He would have taken Carlos over Alco. It's ludicrous. It's just
You
crazy.
know, I just believe that ABJ can be an MVP player. He can be. He has the tools. When you look at him, his swing, his speed,
Good point.
it's just the year when he's going to put it together. You know, growing up with AB, it was me and
Great.
AB.
He was
We were
great.
neck and neck.
Yeah.
So defensively, he's there. On this team, on certain teams, when he plays with the Knights, and they have Marty and Farka, he shines because he's that complementary piece that makes it all go together.
Yeah.
On this team, he's the alpha.
Yes.
So when you're the
He hasn't been
first
good as
pick,
the alpha.
he's
So
gotta
true.
kind of do
He hasn't.
it, and I think that's the definition of this team. You have Naby and ABJ. We're talking a lot about Edmund and Uri and all these guys. If Naby pitches the way he pitches and ABJ leads the team, this team could be a Final Four team standing.
Listen. Navy used to be a ticket to the dance. Okay, he first entered the league 2017. Navy went to the World Series. 2018 went to the World Series. 2019 World Series, 3 in a row. 2020 lost in the semis. 2021 he missed the playoffs. 22 missed the playoffs. 23 he won it all again, right?
Yes.
Okay. So my point is those teams when he missed the playoffs those 2 years. Those teams were better than this, and they missed the playoffs. So I don't want to hear anything about Navy. You have Navy. You're
I
in
like
the
the
dance.
defense,
You're not in the dance.
but I like
You
the
used to be in the
defense.
dance.
I don't love the defense.
What don't you like about this defense?
Well, T.I. thinks he made no errors last year. He did make some errors.
Yeah, but
and
with
his range is
Naby
limited.
pitching, I think it helps him and he makes the plays that he has to get to.
Balls are coming
Sammy
in
at
hotter.
third
though.
had a negative year last year, not a positive at third. In fact, I put Uri at third. I
Me
put
too.
Uri to third.
Me too.
No.
No.
And
Defensively,
move Carlos
it's
to
weak.
second.
And then who plays short center?
Michon. I
Eddie
guess
Michon?
Michon. I guess Michon's
And
got to come
Sammy's
up
on
the
the
bench.
bench and hitting?
I
Yeah,
guess,
it's
yeah.
Not, it's not a perfect.
This
defensive
guy's got to
team.
come to third, I think, in my opinion, because Sammy was much better a couple of years ago at third. Last year, he was not great on beast mode at third base. I saw a few errors.
He did not. 2 years ago, he played a lot better. He did not have a great year last year, Sammy, but he was also captain. Sometimes being captain
Yes.
can take you out of your
True.
rhythm as a player.
Also, I want someone more athletic than Sammy when T.I. is my shortstop.
Exactly.
Right.
This is not Z. This is not, Gabe
But you can't
running
hide,
all over the
but
place.
you can't hide Sammy here either because it's the same thing.
It's funny.
So,
It's
you know,
funny.
it's just trouble.
They have a great
This combo is
athletic.
trouble.
They have a great athletic outfield, but the one pitcher you could get away with not having a great athletic outfield, you could put Loud in here. Because he doesn't get hit hard so much in the outfield.
100%.
You're
You
more
could put
tested
Loud
on
in
the
the
ground
infield, yeah.
because, and I need bats. So having a center fielder in left, less important with Navy on the mound. It's all about his bat. It's all about his bat. His bat.
And you know what? Abe J is a second-round pick. Not really because of his bat. He has potential of the bat, but really what separates him is his unbelievable defense. I agree with you 100%. This is the guy that got to a game within the World Series with Bub in center who can't throw the ball. So you don't need this on this team.
I have one
Well, he didn't have him submitted. He changed his pick. He had somebody else here, mystery man, and he ran up and switched the pick. We'll never know who
we
he
will
had.
know. This
We'll
Abe,
know.
you just put a G in front of it, and that's who he had. He had Abe. And I don't know where he was going to put him because he's the shortstop. But that's
He
who
might have
was
been
gonna
moving
go with.
over for Gabe. He would have moved over for Gabe.
I guess so. And I think they would have been a lot better off, tell you the truth.
Well,
One good point I want to make about Navy is when he's been under good leadership, Max Sutton 2 years, he went to the World Series both times. He was under Z's leadership 2 times, he went to the World Series both those times. T.I. has that same type of leadership. So that's one thing that's going for Navy. When he has leadership on his team, he's been going to the World Series.
Listen,
So,
AB's been a captain, Carlos has been a captain, T.I.'s been a captain, Sammy's been a captain, Nate B has even been a terrible captain, but a captain. Mishon's been a captain, also a terrible one last year, but in the past he's been very good.
he's great. Mishon's
So
great.
they have a lot of leadership. I don't see the vocals so much.
I played with I'm with Yaakov this year. He was begging for Eddie Mishon.
Yeah,
he said
he was
Eddie
great.
Mishon is great. He had the great year last year, and he played for him. So from the outside in, we were all saying, "What's up with Eddie Mishon?" But the guys in the locker room knew that he led by example last year. He had 486. The Pickles didn't make the playoffs, maybe because decisions he made on the mound or whatever, but not because of what he did personally. He came, he led, he brought it. They're gonna need him. I mean, you look at this team, and you can't judge it really by the lineup because of Navy. You think that's some kind of equalizer?
Can they win 3-1?
That's what
Can
they have to
this
do.
team win 3-1?
So can they make enough
Can
plays to win 3-1? Because I don't think they're built to win 7-5. I don't think they picked him to play 7-5 ball. But
I'm ready for my grade. You guys ready?
By the way, is he missing 2 weeks or not? Does anyone know this yet or no?
JT, you would know.
What's the story with this?
I heard you were in
I
on the
had no
collusion to
idea.
fake that you were out 2 weeks so that I could get you at 7. Is that true?
0-0. Everything. Norm, you would know.
I'm trying to
Very
find
upsetting.
out.
Very upsetting.
It is upsetting.
Very upsetting. I don't like it.
Me neither.
I don't know how he's putting me involved in it.
So I thought maybe you
No,
knew that he
nothing.
wasn't missing anything and that you wanted to get him at
0,
7.
Horrible. Nothing. It's terrible. It's a big stain.
It's a big problem for the future
I don't like
because
it
you
at
can't
all.
have people lying,
You can't
and
do
then
that.
you can't. If you penalize him, no one's gonna put anything on the sheet.
Well, I don't know if he lied to necessarily play with T.I. T.I. didn't have the pick till hours before.
Right.
So who did he collude with? He wasn't
No,
colluding with
he
anyone.
wasn't including with anyone.
So he might have had the trip planned and then he just canceled it along the way. You made the trade the day the draft board came out. I don't think, at that point, I
But
think
we
he
didn't
really
know
was going
before
away.
the draft. Why didn't we know before the
No, we
draft?
didn't even know.
Let's say he didn't know an hour before the
Right,
draft.
but
I'm not
Saban
missing-
could have been upset. He won
Right.
the World Series with them last week.
Maybe
Right.
Saban takes him, by the way.
Right. The minutes before
No,
the
me
call.
and Saban are the two that are upset.
Right.
Yeah.
Saban and I. Because
Right.
we were both gonna
Right.
be 1 and 2 with him, but
In other words-
he didn't do it to avoid us because he said it later.
So why
The draft order
didn't
given.
we all know that he's not missing any time? Why?
Or do we know now? We're taking T.I.'s word for it because he came down and sat down and said, I got a text, he's not missing. But I don't know.
And he
Maybe
said
he is
it after.
missing.
He said it like pick 42.
Yeah,
he didn't
very
say
weird.
He didn't know.
All I know is I asked Navy.
Well, let's say he
and
is
said,
missing.
What's the difference? I went third overall. I go, that's not the point.
Right, but
Where
if-
you went? What if you went 12th?
Do they have
Yeah.
a picture?
So I think that answers your question.
Yeah, it does, and it's a problem.
But do they have a picture? Let's say, I don't know if he's not missing or he is
Next year.
missing.
Do
Is
they have
Eddie
a
Mishon?
picture?
Has he
Mishon,
pitched?
I
Has he
guess.
pitched? He'll get rocked.
Mishon, I guess it's got to be
I think,
Mishon.
I think this guy.
Would Teddy pitch?
Can he?
I think Alan. Oh, Kushner pitched before.
Oh, Kush could pitch. Yeah, I've seen him pitch.
But yeah, it's a
Any
problem.
year
It's
of
not,
that.
it's not
So
good.
I
It's
don't think.
terrible.
I think
They're
they
0
know,
4.
but I think that they know
if
that.
Navy is not pitching, they're 0-4. That's a fact.
By the
Okay.
way, I don't have their lineup like this. I have Alan Jamal leading off because we know T.I. loves him. And then I have T.I. batting second. That's probably not
So you have 267 to 209.
Yes,
You
that's the
thought of this
opening.
lineup.
And then AJ because I'm trying to.
You got to get some
extend it.
depth. You got to
I
get some
can't
depth.
do
Right,
this.
right.
I can't.
You got to
It's
get some
impossible.
depth. Agreed.
I'm ready for grades.
All right, go. It's
Listen.
the Navy
listen,
team. Don't forget it.
Yeah, I'm
That's
not
the
gonna
key,
forget it, but
that's
Navy,
the key.
listen, Navy, like I said, started off. He was a ticket to the dance. It's proven that he's not anymore.
Right.
This team is worse than his team's been. this team's worse than the teams he's had that he's missed the playoffs.
Well,
So I have
he
him
won.
for
He
sure.
had Steven Shalhoub, Joe Greenberg, and all these guys on the team.
I have him. I have him
He definitely
missing.
doesn't have those
I have,
guys.
I have
So
him
this is
missing-
worse than Zach at short
No.
and Aaron at
I have him
center.
missing the playoffs with Z, 7 and the 8 seed, Zach and Nate B. I have him.
And you're the 6. You're
No, we're gonna be probably maybe the 1 or the 2.
kiss the red.
1, 2, or 3. I'm gonna go the same grade.
Scared to give the F, huh?
There's no way.
Magic ticket.
I don't go lower than this with an AB. This is as low a grade I'll ever go with an AB. I just think that he is a competitor. He is a game changer. They have to play a certain way that's not sexy for a whiteboard show. When you look at this is half the whiteboard show talking about a lineup. They know their lineup's not great. Their whole banking on is defense at AB. It's not a whiteboard sexy team to discuss because there's just nothing here, you know? But Navy on the mound is an equalizer. He's a competitor. He's fired up. They're going to hear this. They're going to use this as bulletin board material. And this is as low as I'll ever go for Navy. I'm going to C+.
Okay. These guys are at war with each other last year. I guess now they're playing on the left side together, unless they move Uri Adler over here. I love the pitcher. There's no arguing that. Maybe he is missing. Maybe he's not. Who the hell knows? Outfield's overqualified for this pitcher. The infield, I believe, is underqualified. However, I saw T.I. last year with his leadership skills somehow take that biblical liberal team to a game within the World Series when he was at war with his own clubhouse early on, with Farka, with Jake, with a bunch of other guys that could not stand him. He somehow got it together. So I think he has a way to rally the troops. I hope they don't start 1-3 or 1-5. Could get very, very ugly, and this guy could be on an El Al flight once again. I'm going lower than I want to with an AB team. I'll just go standard C right in the middle. That's it. We'll be back.
This commercial break is brought to you by Fonz Fired Pizza, proud sponsor of the YMSL. Ain't nothing better than getting saucy with Fonz. Reach out to Fonz Fired Pizza for any occasion. We got you covered. And don't forget about our signature frozen pies. They come in various different flavors. Stay saucy, my friends.